Good day and welcome to yet another episode of the Chatterbox with myself, Nyakallo Lephoto and Ndizamchini, Mr. Leluka, sir.
The airplane, your best friend in all spheres of life. Nyaks, a very good afternoon to you, and I hope you're well.
Very well, man, as always. Are you good?
Nah, I'm in the greatest of shapes, can't complain. I mean, we're talking sports. I'm energized, man. I look forward to this segment of the show.
You can't be happy talking sports. It's only people that are winning that are happy talking sports. I win.
You know, Nyaks, they always talk about sportsmanship spirit, you know. When someone else is winning, you should also, celebrate and enjoy the fact that, someone else is feeling what you always feel, what you always, it feels so great to see people rejoicing because I'm so used to winning as a team. When we talk about my team, Nyaks, we win almost every single thing on offer. So the fact that other people are getting to taste, that, and they know what it is like feeling. Now it makes me happy, man. And otherwise, I'm in sports. I mean, it's competition. We've got to compete, but at the same time complement each other. So you can't always win and not lose. So it's always like that. You either win some, you lose some, and with all the feelings that it comes with. I mean, the emotions that it comes with.
You cannot be proud supporting Teddy Pendergrass Football Club in my time.
You got me there. Yes, even in the Bible, man, it states that, there are those 7 years of hunger and then 7 years. Hey, look at you, right? Look at you, right? Look at you. So it's your season, Yaks, man. Enjoy, really. It's your season. And I think it has happened to a number of teams as well, where you find that a certain season, like, really belongs, like, literally to that one team. It has happened to Kaizer Chiefs. There was a time where Orlando Pirates were just on top.
Happy
they
people.
were taking everything. Happy people. Remember those days? Yes. You could not stop Orlando Pirates. So now it's Mamelodi Sundowns. Whatever it is that they're using, the system, it's working for them. Let's be happy. Let's be happy for Mamelodi Sundowns.
You say that people say that they are ruining South African soccer. How do you feel about it?
Somehow I'm inclined to agree with some of the sentiments shared by a lot of people to say, yes, they are ruining it in a sense that they've got the financial muscle. What I have noticed, and I've spoken about this before, I think, with some of my counterparts and colleagues at the other radio station that I used to work for, to say, when you have the financial muscle and you're able to acquire services of these, well-experienced players, it's all good. But if you have a team that is now made of all stars, but you need 11 men in the field in one game, and there are about 22 just sitting, not doing anything. And I'm talking about some of them who end up sitting on the bench for almost a year and not touching the ball. It's sad because it means that person is just being paid for sitting on the field. They're not really playing, whereas they could render their services elsewhere so that the league can be competitive and we can enjoy knowing that we don't know who's going to win. Now, when it's a one-man or one-horse race, as some would refer to, it becomes boring. Like, and I think you'll agree with me, a lot of people are no longer watching these games because they know that, Mamelodi Sundowns they're going to win. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yesterday, a point in reference. Yesterday, I didn't watch the match. I only waited for the score because I knew that what was going to happen, So I didn't even watch the match, but I knew what was going to happen, So.
How did you become a Kaizer Chiefs fan?
But congratulations to Mamelodi Sundowns. Kaizer Chiefs, man, is like I'll say, they normally say it's a family business. It was a family affair, man. Growing up in Kwakwa, and I remember at some point in my life, because you are exposed to a local team called back then it was called Fairway Stars or something, So we always we loved Fairway Stars because Fairway Stars was a team from home, Kwakwa, but then my dad was a staunch, still is a staunch supporter of Kaizer Chiefs, So it goes without saying that in the family, I mean, you would watch him watch soccer and the passion with which he would watch a soccer match and he would talk about the players and explain the experience, the position that the player plays. This one is doing this, that one. That passion, like it simply meant that as kids, we would obviously support what dad was supporting. But then again, the team itself was just doing so well that we understood why he supported, the winning team. So we grew up with that winning mentality that Kaizer Chiefs is the team to support. And every single one of us at home, I mean, including even those that are not yet born, we already know they're going to be Kaizer Chiefs. So everyone in the family is Kaizer Chiefs. So that's how I got to support the team.
That 1993 team, right? Yabo Botende Eshele, Tiki Moti, Dr. Kumalo, Ace Kuse. That was the Kaizer Chiefs fan of all ages.
Yaks. Remember the likes of Fanny Madida, Shane McGregor. A lot of people forget that guy, the striker. Shane McGregor would score a goal with a stomach. Any part of his body.
As long,
you know what I'm saying? That's how
it
was just about. As long as you need, it was all about that. Goals and goals, and to think that at the time those guys were not paid a lot of money. It was passion, Yaks. It was passion. They all played for passion. I remember talking to a guy. I was in Durban. I think he's late now, if I'm not mistaken. Lungisi Ngubani, who told us a very funny story. That do you guys know how we used to get paid? Actually, they used to get paid from the gate takings. They would get paid after the game. They would like put this bag of money and they would call them and there would be those brown envelopes. They would look at your play on the day that you played well. Okay, you deserve 200 rands. Hey, Nyaks, when are you were lacking today? 150 today. So they wouldn't even get paid like a certain amount of money. So,
he's still alive,
so funny,
He's still alive.
Man.
Professor Ngubani.
Professor Mlungisi Ngubani, yes. We were like at a conference. He was just talking. Like, we were all like, journalists from different radio stations and stuff. It was just talking. So
Tell me, man. I mean, we're talking about the obsession that men have with sports, and I know you and I watch more than just football, but I think we were limited for the variety of South African viewership, or just limited to football. How do you feel when your team wins?
Yaks, man, that feeling, it's unexplainable. You feel like you have won, you have won something. And to think that you hardly ever get anything from whatever the team is making. But the fact that it's your team and you support it, you find, I think this a solace, even during turmoil in the country. When you watch your team play and they win, you kind of forget about everything else that happens. So that feeling is unexplainable, Nyaks, to think that it's not only about even points, to say this, we got 3 points or we even lifted the trophy. I see that. But the winning mentality and the discipline with which the team wins, I think I admire that more when a team wins. I look at how they got to win that game, the discipline, whatever it is, the formation that they used. That in life, generally, if you adhere to your plan and you use the formation the right way, you end up winning. So that is basically how I feel when my team wins. Yes. And maybe how you are feeling about your team now.
Everybody gets happy. Everybody gets happy when our football team wins. I'll take this back to Bafana days. Man, we all got along well at that time, man. when sporting team wins, man, even our women get happy because Lemo Becho, we give them money, we give the kids money, we buy things. When team wins, when football team wins, the whole nation wins.
Yeah. That is the thing about it, Nyaks. Sports is more than just sports, people playing, and that's all. But the emotions that come with it. I remember listening to one great sports presenter that we talked about. His link when he started the show on 947. He mentioned one thing about sports, that sport is a very emotive sport. Just it's all about that. The fact that when we moved from apartheid, I'll say, into now the freedom that we are enjoying, the whole nation was together because of that. It brought us together because we find solace in sports. That's the one thing that brings us together where we go, and we can generally and genuinely be happy that we are watching our game or our country, patriotism, winning. And it makes us feel good, despite the fact that they win cups or they win money because that money doesn't even come to us. But the patriotism and how you feel about your country being there on that stage and being seen as winners, that is very, very awfully unexplainable. You see, as it is right now, I'm trying to find the right words to describe it, but none comes to mind.
By behavior.
By behavior, yeah.
You right now, the only thing missing now is for you to cry now. Or, hey guys, man, when I remember that 1996 team,
yeah,
when they scored, when Mark Williams scored, the stadium was shaking.
with the assistance of Dr. Kumar, there you mentioned that.
The cameras are going like this. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, it sent the whole stadium and country into a frenzy. I think, the whole country at that time screamed. We all screamed. You could hear screams from, I remember I was in Tutadi Chava, somewhere around the hall there, this town hall.
Freedom Square.
That's where Freedom Square, yeah. The noise that, what a feeling, Yaks, what a feeling. So that is what sports is about. And one can say, you know what, it's mostly men. Generally it would be because look, we have stress generally as men. We have so much stress. Back in the days, women would stay at home, we would go to work and work hard and be frustrated by one thing or two at work. But during the weekend, what do? Yes, you sit with your family, but there's got to be something that you find where your mind goes and then finds peace, in that space. And sports happened to be that. And also, Nyaks, look, during the apartheid times, it was very difficult to get together and you remember the rule that we couldn't gather in numbers. But sports was that thing, and I normally look at teams like Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. Those two teams, I look at them as not just two teams that are competing, but two teams that actually brought the nation together. Because even during those times, people would obviously gather and be able to discuss, the political atmosphere at the time during those soccer matches. Hence, you would see some actions being taken after maybe one big match. Then people would go and they would discuss, this is what we're going to do. Messages would be delivered during that time. So I think it's way more than just soccer being played, but the emotion.
Now, how do you then feel when your team loses?
Sometimes I normally say to people, it depends on how it happens. When it becomes consistent, you are just losing and losing, you end up feeling nothing, man. Because at the moment, I know that we haven't really been winning. I think the last game we won was against the team that was from I call it Durban Celtics. I call it Durban Celtics because it's still a
Royal
team
AM.
just in Durban. Royal AM, yeah. So we beat them, and I think that since they started as Royal AM, I think it was our first time actually beating them, because they've always given us a hard time. So the feeling, I think, at that time, for me, is more about breaking that, streak of saying, we've been losing against these guys, but we need to teach them that you're not always going to beat Kaizer Chiefs. We are a team to be, we're still a force to be reckoned with. We're still, the biggest brand in South Africa at the moment. As much as, yes, Sundowns are the biggest team, and as far as winning is concerned right now, but we're still the biggest brand. And we've got to respect that about Kaizer Chiefs. That Kaizer Chiefs is a very big brand that needs to be afforded the respect they deserve as far as that is concerned.
It's amazing what Ntate Kaizer Motaung has managed to achieve in 50 years. He's in his 70s, 80s or so, but I think Kaizer Chiefs has been around for around 50 years. It is quite amazing, and I would very much love for the team to outlive him, and not be like the black businesses that we have. Something that was unfortunate now that happened to us in Guaqua here is that shortly when Tate Mike Mokoena, passed on, the team fell apart. We no longer have a team. It got to be sold. And it was feeding now to the stereotype that we always have, that when black business owners die, their businesses die with them.
Yeah, that's a very a great point to make, Nyaks. And you will notice, though, as you know what I'm saying, the team was never, the same without Molemela and stuff. And it's, like you said, a great observation that that is a trend actually, where if the main man passes on, then the team is no longer there, so that the morale in the team as well sort of dies and stuff. I hope what you are saying is something that they would take into account. But having seen Kaizer Chiefs, I think one thing that I love about Tate Motaung that I think he does very well is the ability to delegate. Yes, he's the chairman. He knows where he comes from with the team, but trusting other people to run with an idea like that. Because I often say, even in business or any idea, Nyaks, if you have an idea and your idea gets so big that someday it has to get out of your hands, you just have to watch it grow, and other people buy into it and they run with it, and they feel that they also part of it, they own it, then you are on the right track. So I think that way, the fact that he's trusted his children and other people to run the team. I mean, he's roped in the services of former players as well to come in and contribute the way they can in the team, and that shows that he is not really just about himself. The name will always remain. It's Kaizer Chiefs, and his contribution will always be there. Even when he says, now I'm no longer as hands-on, as far as the running of the team is concerned. But you can still see that, yes, we do have a team in the likes of the daughter, Jessica Motaung, Bobby Motaung. A lot of people, he doesn't really have, a favor, with a lot of people, but I'll say he's there. I mean, he's done his part. I mean, the fact that the team is standing, it means there is some, to some extent, a contribution that he's making, and a positive one. Although sometimes when he makes decisions, we question from outside, but there's nothing much that we can do. But there's also Kaizer Motaung Jr., who happened to play soccer. And the fact that he's played soccer and is now in management, it says a lot. Nyaks. I often talk about people that run organizations. For example, if you run a radio station and you've never really been a radio presenter or anything else on radio, but you run a station by virtue of your qualification, maybe you studied management somewhere, and then you're not so passionate about what happens, the intricacies. You don't know exactly what's happening on the ground. Yours is just to run it sometimes fails. You see a lot of organizations failing that way. Whereas if you get someone who's been there, and then they couple their experience maybe with some formal education or formal qualification to do that, you will see a guy like Kaizer Motaung Jr. He's doing very well as far as education is concerned. He recently graduated, and he did a number of courses process, and he's in management now, and he's got a vision. I remember I listened to one of his discussions. I can't remember if it was with an international organization or what, but the example that he made was that, yes, you see a lot of teams buying players, that when they buy players, they may not necessarily buy them for today. They may buy them, but they've got a plan for, 2 to 3 years from then, looking at the player, that from development, you see this guy, by the time he turns, let's say he's 18 now, by the time he turns 21, this guy is going to be lethal as a striker. He's going to be very great as a stopper or something like that. So I think it's we're getting somewhere with that.
As much as I hate Kaizer Chiefs with all my heart, I believe that they are a necessary evil. They need to stay. Long live to Kaizer Motaung, long live to the brand of Kaizer Chiefs, but may you lose forevermore. Let's talk about banter, right? Let's talk about banter. We like teasing one another as sports fans, especially as men as well. Do you ever feel like at some point we cross the line?
Hey, Nyaks, that happens. Hey, I was actually listening to one show, sports show on one of the radio stations, where a guy called in to say, "Hey man, sports," she said to the presenter, "May you please have a show, dedicate one of your shows to just educate fans about behavior as fans, not only in the stadium, but also outside, to say that, yes, when your team loses, one thing you need to understand is that this is sports and everyone is in there to compete. Everyone wants to win. So if you lose and you think you can just hurl insults to people and start calling them all sorts of things, unless you are saying it on a lighter note, like, hey, look at these, they normally refer to other teams as cows. You'll see that, look at the cows and whatnot. But as long as it's that, but the minute you overstep the line, say, for example, you want to get physical, when you get teased about your team losing, I mean, I understand that emotions are involved and people react differently to criticism, but we need to understand that this is competition. We are there to compete. We're not there to be, there's no friendly between Kaizer Chiefs. Even if you can say Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates are playing a friendly match, it's not a friendly match. When those two get into a field of play to lock horns, it is war. It is war, and the grass will suffer.
The same anymore. When I was growing up, I know people used to kill one another at soccer matches, and we had to stop them. I think that Evan Kaizer and Kaizer Motaung had to come together and say, guys, no, we can't beat this barbaric. But after that, then the intensity of the derby went down. I think we must have gone something like over 5 years or so, and every time the two teams were playing, it was like a 0-0 draw or a 1-1 draw, and it sort of like killed the derby spirit.
Yeah, no, that's true. I remember that time very well, Nyaks. And to be quite honest, it was bad because I remember there were times, Nyaks, back in the days, building up to the derby, once you hear that the derby is going to be played, that derby would start being played the day we hear that they're going to play. We would start interacting, there would be this buzz in the air. I mean, even if it was 2 weeks from then, but we would start talking about the match, we would start making those, threats that this is what we're going to do and all that. The funny thing is now, to be quite honest, there was a time, Nyaks, where there was a derby playing. I only found out on the day that there was a derby. Now, can you imagine if it goes to that there is a derby playing today? I only found out on the day. That really means something had changed. Something, like you said, the spirit had gone down and it was no longer the same. And I think we were losing interest. But we've seen it trying to pick up now. Whenever they come back to play, we can see that there's still that. But I think also, Nyaks, there's another thing that I want to throw into this. Remember back in the days, we used to have public relations officers going to radio stations, even during the game. PRO. The likes of, I think the last guy that we can look at and say
Jabu man. We also had the Sundowns guy who had like a lot of rings. Alex Shakwani. Who did Pirates have, man? Before Floyd? Who did Pirates have before Floyd? They also had a guy, man, Pirates. They seem to be frozen there. Who the PRO, man? In the comments, guys. If you remember the Orlando Pirates, yeah, no, keep going though. I think we can still hear you, but the screen is, the viewers, guys, please help us with the Orlando Pirates PRO, who was at the time of Wishakwane and Jabu Kumalo and Alex Chakwani. There was the Orlando Pirates one. My goodness, people are not going to forgive me for this. Do you remember him though?
I actually have forgotten the name.
There was
I have forgotten the name.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Let's move on. Let's move on, man. Women say that we are passionate about sports as men, but we don't transcend the same passion to other aspects of our life, like the way we are at the stadiums, like or in the pubs or wherever we watch sports. When we are with family and with like all the things that make the family go, we don't exert the same energy and stuff. Why?
That depends. You are with your family almost every day, but you go and watch a soccer match, once maybe a month or twice a month. And when you go out there to watch your soccer team playing, obviously there'll be that frenzy, the comments, the buzz, the excitement, and all that. Yes, we do give attention to other aspects of our lives, but the passion with which we do that cannot necessarily be the same. I mean, for example, someone might say, "Hey, when you go to these soccer matches more than you do to church? You don't go to church as often as." It depends, what you currently find appealing to you. If there is nothing that you feel that you are getting at a certain institution, some people will say, "Look, I'm okay. I mean, I feel okay. It's okay for me if I don't go to church on Sunday because I pray, because I pray and I believe. I'm a believer. I don't feel that and be considered a good because I pray, and then the relationship is between me and my God." But when it comes to soccer, obviously the soccer match does not necessarily come to you every day and say, "Here we are." He showed some passion or whatnot. So it's a very difficult one to understand for ladies. And if we have to break it down, let's remember back in the days. When we used to work, men used to be, the providers, because these days there are women who are providers, but we would go out there and struggle. People used to work in mines. We used to work as construction, guys, foremen and all that. Very difficult circumstances. And what do you do when you come back home? You want to relax a bit. What is that one thing that you do? Because there were not so many competing things, events for people to achieve, to attend. So soccer or sports happened to be that one thing where we could go and find solace and find peace. And men generally, we are wired that way. We are competitive. We are heroes. We believe in working towards something, but the end result of what you do is what makes you feel that, I'm a hero. My team, watching my team win, they are heroes. You want that. So we learn a lot from sports. And then we apply some of the principles used in sports. We apply them to our lives. For example, when you see a team win and you analyze, we sit down, you and I will sit and analyze a soccer match for an hour. But the one thing that I think we agree on is, that feeling when you win and achieving, the feeling of achieving, because we are wired that way. We want to achieve. So when you watch someone achieve or a team achieve, then you want to learn something from that and say, this is what I'm also going to apply to my life, following, adhering to my plan, coming up with plans, going back to the drawing board if I don't win, roping in services of other people to assist where I can't win and all that. So basically, that is how it started. I'm not saying women are not generally competitive. They are also competitive. And a lot of women play sports. They partake in sports. We have soccer teams now, even in the PSL, women soccer teams and stuff, and who are really playing and are competitive. But the vigor with which they do it, it's no longer it's not the same as us.
It's not the same. I have coached basketball, boys and girls. Girls are not competitive quite in the same manner as boys are. Boys, even if I take one ball and I just roll it there, 5 of them would want to go get it. Ladies would be like, it doesn't matter who gets it first. It's always going to come back to me. I think there's a bit of logic in there with them, you know. So yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Cricket and football national teams are not doing as well in international games. I mean, I know our cricket team does get ranked #1, you know, every now and then. However, when they go to the World Cup, they always get bounced. When they go to like any ICC tournament, they always get bounced and stuff. Football team, but rugby does well, man. Rugby since 1990, since we got our freedom, 94, they won the World Cup in 94. I think they won it in 2007 again. Quite recently now with Kolisi as well as a captain, 3 times World Cup, world champions. What is rugby doing that football and cricket are not doing?
Hey, it is the mindset. It is the mindset thing, Nyaks. I think you know that in order to win, you've got to, your mindset plays a very important role. You can have all the physical attributes needed to take part in that sport, but if your mindset is not at the right place, like I said, you know, rugby, you look at the rugby players and stuff, naturally, they are from an environment where, and remember, rugby predominantly was considered a white sport. Now we have, you know, those quotas that have now come to play, and you see a number of black guys going in there and they playing, and then they adopt the same mentality and they end up winning. So we've got to be honest in some cases and stop running away from the truth to say that with our players now, the hunger is no longer the same as back in the days. Look at our team. If you look at our Bafana back then and Bafana now, look at the crop of players that were playing at the time. They were still hungry, you know. They were not earning as much as the guys are earning now. So they were hungry for more. So they would play and throw in their best in the game and to win. And we were on the world stage as well. But now, if you look at the guys that are playing now, because the amount of money that these guys are getting paid, Nyaks, I mean, they earn a lot, you know. And you ask yourself if they really care about playing, because at the end of the day, they know even if they win, they lose a game, the paycheck that's coming is still, you know, the same. I'm going to earn a lot. But the guys that were playing at that time, they were doing it for passion. It was all about passion. I want to go in there and represent my country. I want to go in there and represent even my township. If you are from Soweto, Pefeni, and you play for Kaizer Chiefs, the pride of coming back and saying,
I wouldn't know what would be the case with cricket guys, but the football players have lost it. The priorities are just not there. It's the women, it's the cars. Look at how many of them are dying because of what's this road accidents and stuff like that. We're running out of time. I would have loved us to actually explore that, but maybe we should do that as a follow-up, man. Sports was supposed to unite us. When the Springboks, I learned rugby when the Springboks were playing. We used to just sit and watch, right? And they would, you know, we would love them. And when Bafana played as well, we united that. In 2010, when we hosted the World Cup as well, we sort of kind of tried to rekindle that. And then, you know, when Mpiwe Chabalala scored that goal, we found ourselves kissing white women. It was nice. But we were supposed to be together. Sport is supposed to bring us together. What happened?
Hey, Nyaks, you know, I often say it looks like it was just, I think everything was so sudden when it happened. It was so sudden. And I think the mindset of our leaders at that time was at the right place. We cannot blame them and say, well, they failed at bringing us. They did everything they could. That day, Nelson Mandela, may his soul rest in peace, did everything that he could. He even took part. He would attend these games. He would, you know, put guys together. He would lift trophies up, whether it's a white sport, whether it's a black sport or whatever. He didn't really care. He would go there. He would encourage the guys, you know, to show them that through sports, this is the only thing that can bring the country together. And we thought at the time, everything was okay. I think we still had a lot to deal with as far as that is concerned, and the political turmoil and the reconciliation TRC that was done. We thought it was enough, but it wasn't enough. There is a whole lot that still has to happen. Now, to come back to the reason why it seems that we're no longer as united. Now, the situation in the country, when you are angry and you are hungry, or when you are angry, you get angry. It's not necessarily because I'm angry because that guy is white. I'm angry because that guy is black. It sort of says, yes, the leadership is basically black leadership, but what they are doing, they're not serving the country the way they should. Everyone is getting frustrated, and the frustration now translates into us here on the ground fighting, because anything that happens, we start blaming each other, we start pointing fingers at each other, we start saying things like, yeah, look at you guys. I think you've, in one maybe incident where a white guy has said something to you and you felt that, I think you are being unfair, you are attacking me for something that is not really of my own doing.
Those Bryanston conversations, they do get out of line, really. The you people type of
people, look at how you guys are running the country. You guys don't know how to run the country. And it ends up being, now we are back to square one. Now the truth is coming out that we're not happy about how things are being done. Whereas if we could get together and say, guys, that sports, remember what I said, Nyaks, about achieving something and not continuing in the same manner or the unison. So we need to use that to say, now that we've achieved in this area of life, let's move on to the next. What do we fix next? Let's fix the political system in the country as blacks and black and white. Let's not do it from, okay, as a black person, this is what I'm going to do, or I'm going to block a white person from fixing things because he's white. Let me work together. Let me find out what he wants.
Let me come to there. I don't want to deprive you of the opportunity to bring the business side of yourself, man. Who you are on the social platform, where people want to get in touch with you and stuff. And
All right, young, thank you so much for that. On Instagram at Sefofane Leluka, Facebook Airplane Sefofane Leluka, and on Twitter S for Sefofane Leluka. And then you can also drop me a WhatsApp on 083-5377-884. And then don't forget, guys, to comment, and we welcome your thoughts and opinions on this show with open arms. So your comments and they actually build us, they help us. A lot of people are commenting. I loved the comment that I received from one of our staunch now supporters who always watches. His name is Simon Mohaswa in Johannesburg, saying that I love the connection between the two of you. And he goes on to say, hey, Wabu was for fun, man. Hey,
but you talk because I let you talk. It's not that I cannot talk, but I think the show is smoother when you talk a lot. All right, he is stuck there. I think, ESCOM is doing its things, man. Yeah, you can carry on, man. I'm saying the show is chopped up when you talk a lot. Okay, I'm going to have to.
That's what I explained.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stop it here, man. Otherwise, we'll be running out of time. And my name is Nyakallo Lephoto. He is Sefofane Aeroplane Leluka. This is the chatterbox on the contributors. Like the video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you know you are the first one to know when the next episode comes up. Adios.